Welcome to Fringe Fanatics with Chad Lee and Chris Zane.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. I scared Chad a little bit.
You do it so loud. And woke me up.
Well, it is episode 84. This is Fringe Fanatics. I am Chris Zane.
And I am Chad Lee. Thanks for coming back.
As always, thank you guys for joining the show. If you are watching us live right now, we greatly appreciate it. We need more Twitch followers, so let all your Twitch friends know. And if you haven't yet, please make sure to go like, share, subscribe, and follow us on all things social media. And make sure to subscribe and rate us 5 stars on whatever you're watching or listening to us on. Now that the business is out of the way...
Episode 84.
84.
Dude.
84!
Just call us, like, the consistency podcast.
Yeah, dude. If availability is the best ability, that's pretty much what we've got.
We're always available.
We're always available.
Yep, maybe on Monday, maybe on Tuesday, maybe on Thursday.
Yeah, if we need to get get a guest in, we're always the host. But if we need to get a guest in, damn it, we're going to do it.
Damn right
and we
we
will.
are.
And we got a good guest tonight.
We sure do.
David Harrison joining us of the Locked On Commanders podcast, as well as CommandersGameDay.com. So that is very cool. And as always, we are highlighting one player. Well, actually, today, 2 players.
Yeah, we're going to bring up 2 of them because it's kind of a tie. It's a neck and neck of like who the possible best 84 could be.
Yeah.
You guys be the judge of it. Who do you think would be the honorary 84 episode highlight?
Yeah, you'll know who we picked just by how much we're going to go into it, but we will give a little bit of rundown to the other guy. We picked Shannon Sharpe. Football tight end who played 14 seasons in the National Football League, primarily with the Denver Broncos, regarded as one of the greatest tight ends of all time. He ranks 3rd in receptions, receiving yards, and receiving touchdowns. He was also the first tight end to amass over 10,000 receiving yards and was inducted to the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 2011.
Yeah. This guy is a stud at the tight end position. Sharpe
He's
played.
still a stud now.
Dude,
however
he's
old he is, the
jacked,
dude's 55,
man.
and he looks like he's 30. Still.
Sometimes eats like 15,000 calories or something.
Yeah, well, when you're,
he's made First Take a lot more bearable to watch. Pretty interesting on there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's get into a little bit more of him. Sharpe played college football for the Savannah State Tigers, HBCU, and was selected by the Broncos in the 7th round of the 1990 NFL Draft. During his 12 non-consecutive seasons with Denver, he was selected to 7 consecutive Pro Bowls and 4 first-team All-Pros, and won 2 consecutive Super Bowl titles. In between his Broncos tenure, Sharpe was a member of the Baltimore Ravens for 2 seasons, with whom he received an 8th Pro Bowl selection and won a 3rd Super Bowl title. So all this guy does is win.
Pretty much, even in life afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, Club Shay Shay, I believe that interview with Cat Williams, it was a few weeks ago. I noticed that it became the most watched interview on YouTube history.
Yeah, and also I think he made more off of that episode than he did in any year playing in the NFL, which is insane.
That's just insane.
That's just crazy.
Yeah. All you gotta do is have a wacky guy on like
Cat Williams on and have a few drinks and let him just torch everybody in the comedy and entertainment world,
Yeah, pretty much.
But Shannon's the younger brother of former NFL star wide receiver Sterling Sharpe, and he had a pretty cool moment in his retirement. Well, when he got inducted into the Hall of Fame, where he pretty much said, I may have been the first to get in the Hall of Fame and stuff like that, but he's like, I'm the 2nd best player in my family, because he always said Sterling was better than he was. But
he
his
always
career
talks
was
about
cut
that.
short.
Yeah.
But yes, I mean,
well, Sterling won Super Bowls with Brett
he
Favre,
did. That's
right?
what I was saying. Sterling won Super Bowls, but he didn't get into the Hall of Fame.
Right.
So that was what Shannon was kind of saying. It was a big emotional moment. If you get a chance, go check it out. Pretty cool.
Well, it's just pretty cool that you would have a brother that introduced you to the Hall of Fame. It was a really cool moment. But let's pivot off him and we'll go into Randy Moss, man.
Yeah, Randy Moss, the other 84. It was tough to pick between these two. Both in their own right are insane athletes. Randy Moss could probably still go out there and catch some balls if you needed him to, you know, a
I
couple
wouldn't doubt
downs.
it. And, you know, really, even looking back at this, both these guys have very boisterous, loud personalities too, which make them great for television after their career. I mean, Randy Moss is great on NFL Countdown, Sunday NFL Countdown. I mean, dude, that's one of the reasons I love watching Sunday NFL Countdown before the games even start. I mean, my NFL Sundays start at 10 a.m., not really like 11 a.m., at least Mountain Standard Time, because I've got to see You Got Mossed. That segment, I mean, it's just so cool that he pulls from high schools, colleges, D2 colleges, you know? It's not just NFL games, so...
Yeah, and I mean, you know, Shannon Sharpe had one of the great NFL films, like clips where he's on the phone or he picks up the phone on the sidelines. He's like,
"Oh yeah,"
call the president. Call, we're killing the Patriots.
Call for help. Call for help. Yep. Even Tyreek did that when he played against the Buccaneers.
Well, let's give a quick little rundown about Mr. Randy Moss.
Randy Gene Moss.
Yeah, Mr. Randy Gene Moss, former football wide receiver for 14 seasons for the Vikings, Raiders, Patriots, Titans, and 49ers, regarded as one of the greatest wide receivers of all times, holds the NFL single season touchdown reception record, 23 in 2007, as well as the NFL single season touchdown record for a rookie, 17 in 1998. All-time, Moss ranks second in career touchdown receptions, leading the league 5 times in touchdown receptions, third most all-time, as well as fourth in career receiving yards, in addition to possessing extraordinary speed at his size, 4.25 40 at 6'4". I forgot his 40 was that.
I know.
Fast,
I just
dude.
read that too, and I was
insane.
shocked. I did not realize he was that
43-inch vertical. He is famously known for his spectacular contested catches, as Chad brought up. Coined the term "mossed," which is now widely used in any football setting, pretty much.
I love that term, lexicon.
The
football lexicon. I need to use that word more often.
Dude, get into it a little bit.
That's a good one, man. But yeah, he helped the Patriots to their 16-0 season. But yeah, that was. I think even on the roast, I thought that was kind of funny. As he even gave Tom Brady some shit that's like, yeah, you know, you got all those rings, but the one year I was with you,
yeah, we had to lose.
Yeah, against Eli. Yeah, I mean, that was just as a fan of football. I mean, and as hard as it was to root for. I mean, not even root for, but just watch the Patriots go through that dominant 2007 season. It was watching history. I mean,
it was, and
what
we
they were
literally
doing,
all thought it was going to be the first undefeated. Since the Dolphins, but I mean, after they changed to 16 and then 17 games now. But yeah, still wild.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. But yeah, Randy Moss, all-time great, NFL 100th anniversary team, Minnesota Vikings Ring of Honor. Let's see.
Rookie of the Year 98, Comeback Player of the Year 07, 4-time first team All-Pro, 6-time Pro Bowl, 5-time receiving NFL touchdowns leader. We mentioned that.
Yeah, well, that's why we couldn't decide.
Yeah, and
we couldn't decide between.
It was a toss-up, but in all honesty, we kind of went the more selfish route, and we figured we could tag clubs Shay, and hopefully something works out for it,
and then we'll get interviewed like Cat.
And then we'll get into Mark Schlereth. And then we'll get into Shannon Sharpe. We'll somehow parlay ourselves interviewing Schlereth into Shannon.
We'll get Stink on here.
And we'll be on Club Shay Shay.
That's the plan.
So that's kind of what we're thinking, guys. Hopefully it happens.
I mean, and Club Shay Shay, he should have us on because he kind of copied our whole stick where we sit here and drink whiskey.
Yeah, we don't have nearly as fancy a setup, but his couches are probably worth as much as this house we're sitting in for all we know.
So, yeah, he has some really good whiskey too.
Yeah, so but yeah,
yeah, 84s,
84s.
Good 84s.
So to a pair of 84s, a pair of shots.
I thought I was gonna burp. Okay,
Chad's thinking about it.
But
cheers to the 84s. Cheers to you guys for tuning in. Cheers to you, buddy.
All right, let's keep going.
Down the hatch. Over the gums and down the hatch to my belly it goes. Yummy.
I'm drinking coffee tonight, taking a page out of my granddad's book.
Should have dumped it in there. My dad, one of his friends' dad was such an alcoholic that he supposedly poured whiskey on his cornflakes.
Oh, God, that sounds awful.
Is that it?
No way. That sounds
Be
horrible.
gross. I feel like it would get really soggy real quick.
Yeah, that just sounds disgusting, man.
Yeah.
When you're that much of an alcoholic, it just tastes like water to you. Though,
Probably,
just
that's
like,
true. Well,
whatever.
how was your weekend, sir?
My weekend, it was pretty eventful. Despite being, here by myself doing the batching thing.
Yeah.
Me and Juno hung out. We got some yard work done. Spread down some turf builder.
Dude, you got
Trying
to
to
build
get-
that turf.
Yep, trying to get a football field out there.
Yeah, nice. We'll paint
Yep.
some lines and we'll play.
We'll put a field goal post out there too.
I was
man.
going to say an incorrect term about a game. I guess it would be whoever has the ball, get them. Do you remember what it was called when we were growing up? Smear the some word that rhymes with it.
Yeah, no, I see what you're talking
Yeah.
about. Yeah, we definitely played that at recess a lot.
Yeah. It was a different time.
Yeah, different times indeed. Can't say that word.
You can in good graces, but then it becomes
Not on
derogatory there. Yeah.
So Saturday got all that done. Friday I watched that new movie, the new Guy Ritchie movie.
The Beekeeper? Or no, you already watched that.
I've never seen that movie. I watched The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. It's a long title. It's always hard.
Isn't that the one with
Henry Cavill?
Yeah, Superman.
Isa Gonzalez. Yeah,
Yeah.
she's in it. Yeah.
I don't really
Dude,
know
it's
who
a
that
kick-ass
is,
movie, though.
all
But it's
I
a true
can-
story. I think you'd really dig it because, to me, I love movies where they kill Nazis. Those movies, if you just say that in it, I'm sold.
Yeah.
I'll watch it.
Zissou, one of the greatest movies I've seen in a while.
I
Just
told you you would
tons-
love it, man.
Well, I mean, it's not like a profound movie
No,
by any means.
but it's
if
kick-ass.
you want a kick-ass,
That's what I'm
just
saying.
Nazis getting
Yeah.
murked.
Because
left
that's just
and
it.
right.
She'll watch like some
His
good
horse
action.
does die, but
That
aside
is
from
kind of a bummer.
You
I
think
know.
the dog's gonna
I
die
thought-
the whole movie?
Oh, it was the dog that survived. So that's
yeah,
what it
you
was.
think he's gonna die the whole movie?
But
I
Hannah
just
will
wanted you
watch
guys to
like a
know
lot
that.
of action movies with me and stuff. But if it's just like straight up nothing but action, very little plot,
Yeah,
she kind of leaves those for me. That's why I checked this one out. But this one's badass because it's based on a true story. How Winston Churchill started the very first kind of like black ops. Because if these guys got caught, they were going to get.
that's why they were ungentlemanly, because they were sneaky.
And yeah, their whole personalities and the way they went about it. I mean,
Yeah.
it's almost like Suicide Squad in a sense.
Yeah.
But that was a really badass movie. And then so Saturday, I planned on like going downstairs, working out while I watched the Mavs.
I was
and-
planning on coming
Yeah.
over.
Yeah, you were.
Yeah.
And then it was so windy that it knocked out my power for like 3 or 4 hours. And so I sat there and read Dandelion Wine by Ray Bradbury, old sci-fi writer.
Oh, I
was
was like,
I only got like 10 or 15 pages into it, and then I was like, you know what, my phone's about to die. I do really feel dependent on technology now, where
oh, that's right. I was gonna say, I was like, why didn't you just sit here and watch shit on your phone?
oh yeah, dude, my phone would have died.
yeah.
But and that was the thing too. I was gonna go downstairs and just work out old school style and like listen to music, but my phone would have died. So
we don't have we don't
have a
CD player.
I used to have a
Of course,
record
nobody
player.
has D batteries anymore. Well,
No.
a record player, you need one that winds up.
Well, yeah, and I guess record players plug in too. So yeah, that wouldn't have worked. I mean, dude, I felt like the 1800s. I'm reading a book. If it would have been night, it would have been by candlelight. But no, I got to where I was just like bored, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna go fucking see a movie, and then hopefully the power will be back on by then. So I went to go see the Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes movie, and I just totally nerded out, man. I just
heard
love
it's really
that movie.
good.
It's really great. It's my favorite of the whole saga so far. I watched them with like Charlton Heston with my dad. My dad used to watch a lot
Yeah,
of
the
old
old
movies
school
like
ones.
that, and so I mean, I don't remember a lot of the old moons, but like that's kind of what started my love for it. And they are tying a lot of those old themes and the old kind of plots into what's going to be happening soon. And I mean, the CGI for those movies, I just can't talk enough about. I mean, it looks so real. I don't know if it's
Yeah.
AI that's doing it or what, but man, it is crisp.
Yeah, the last one I've seen, I think, was the first one with Caesar.
With
So I'm like really.
Whoa,
far
you
behind.
are really behind.
there's,
Yeah,
like, what,
that's the one
3
with James
movies since
Franco.
then? Yeah.
So that was Rise of the Planet of the Apes. Then there was Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, and then War of the Planet of the Apes,
And now Kingdom.
Yeah.
And this is the one where they basically realizing that like they kind of need humans almost. you know?
No, that's not
Oh.
quite it. But
I'm
it's
not gonna lie, that's just what I grabbed from
No,
the fucking.
I get it.
In
the trailer.
the trailer, because it
Yeah.
kind of seemed like his offspring or his descendant, Caesar's descendant.
And it's not even. A lot of people thought that it was his
'cause
descendants.
It looks like
It's no, yeah. It, All Sims kind of look
Okay,
alike.
whoa.
Don't want to get too racist.
Whoa.
I know.
But
They
that's
do.
okay.
It's
they
so
actually
tough in
are
those
chimps.
movies. They're like naming them. They'll be like, "Oh, Rocket just died." I'm like, man, he
Yeah,
looked
it
like
just-
all the other ones.
It's just a different shade. I don't
Yeah.
know.
And that's why I just rewatched. I was so into this one on Sunday morning. I rewatched Rise of the Planet of the Apes. The first one was Caesar,
Yeah.
and they put a birthmark on him, and I feel like they did that
So
so you can
know,
tell
yeah.
which one it is.
Especially when there's a bunch of them around. You're like, I don't know.
You can't tell.
This is
but-
good. If you take this out of context, it does not sound good. If you didn't know we were talking about Planet of the Apes or Rye or Kingdom,
Well, they should because
Yeah.
we started talking about that.
I know, but it just if you got bits and pieces.
Yeah, it was amazing. Came back, got a little drunk, drinking some margaritas, watching the highlights of the Mavs game.
You
It was
and the
really,
Margs.
dude. I'm all about the
I
Margs
can't
right now,
drink
man.
them, dude. They give me fucking instant heartburn.
Yeah, and if you had mine too, because I put a bunch of tahini in them.
I like tahini.
I even turn red. There's no other alcohol that makes me turn red, but this kind of does. I don't, but it's worth
You're
it.
probably allergic to it.
I guarantee you, I
That's
probably
usually-
am.
I grew up with a lot of Asian people in high
Yep.
school, and we would all drink. And
My
we'd be
buddy-
like, you clearly are allergic to
Yeah.
alcohol. I'm like, I didn't know what that meant until I saw you.
I had no
And
idea.
You guys are just bright red.
It's immediate, and they'll get drunk faster too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They get. I'm like, damn. I wish I
it
could
would
get
be
drunk
nice,
like
right?
that.
Yeah.
Instead, I've got Indian blood and
Drink like a
Scottish.
Oh shit! So I did tell you about that. So because I spent
my
the weekend
God.
alone, I watched a lot of movies. Killers of the Flower Moon,
Oh shit!
very depressing, but if it's a story that needs to be told, and
It's an insane story.
It's-
when if you read the book or watch the movie, I'm sure a lot more people have watched the movie. It's a wild story when you're like, oh fuck! Like
if I stepped
that's-
out of my house and saw a white guy, I probably would have punched him in the face
Yeah.
just because of watching that movie. I mean, dude, it is. And Robert De Niro, you better do another movie to make up for this one.
That guy who he plays is
so
the worst person
fucking
in the
evil,
world.
man.
Yeah, like
so evil. It's just so tough. Lily Gladstone. I haven't seen that weird ass
she won
movie.
an Oscar.
No, she got nominated.
Oh shit!
That's what I was about to
I don't
say.
even pay attention.
Emma
to the Oscars.
Stone beat her
Oh,
out with
yeah.
that weird ass movie that she did.
Oh,
Poor Things. Poor
yeah,
Things.
and
Or
I
she-
haven't seen that one yet.
Yeah, I haven't either.
It's so weird. Not to cut you off, but the Oscars. I'm like most of the movies in the Oscars. I don't ever watch.
Yeah,
They
lot of
win
people
it, and
don't.
I'm just
they're
like-
like super artsy movies and stuff.
Yeah.
We always watch like some of them and everything,
I
but
still need to watch Oppenheimer. I'm like,
oh
fucking-
wow, dude, you got to.
We just finished fucking. Oh, keep going. Well, I'll tell you. This.
Well, that's pretty much about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sunday, she came back. We ordered pizza, and then my heart got
Pizza.
pulled out of my chest. But we'll get into that a little later.
Yeah, we will.
So tell me about your weekend.
my weekend. Friday night, watched. Was it Friday? Yeah, Friday night. Watched the Avs lose.
Yeah, that sucked.
That
That was a hell of a
sucked.
game,
Hell,
man.
hell of a game. Crazy game. Double overtime. I ended up falling asleep in the second overtime. I could not make it. I tried.
I wonder why you didn't text me back.
I
I
fell
was like,
asleep,
what the
dude.
hell? God damn.
Dude, I don't know what it was this weekend. I have been like overly exhausted. I probably have something wrong with me for all I know, or it's just everything going on.
It's been a wild week.
Yeah, it's been a tough week. We did get our ass kicked a couple days, but it wasn't too bad. But our job is very, it's not easy.
Nope.
So yeah, Friday I was fucking tired, and I fell asleep. Made it all the way to the start of the second overtime, and then Meryl actually ended up watching the end of the game without me.
That's
And
funny.
she's like, it was really sad.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I bet.
We just lost all the momentum, really.
Yeah, and we'll get more into it. But Saturday, got up, did a whole bunch of shit around the house. Weed killed a whole bunch. Because I'm like fighting weeds in the backyard, and we're trying to use like natural weed kill with
Are you
like
still connected to the internet?
yeah.
Oh, that's weird. I don't
It says
know.
we're still streaming.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, no dropped frames. Chad's off the internet.
Yeah, my
In your
laptop
face.
got kicked off. Huh.
Well, screw
Okay,
you.
well, at least you're connected. That's all that matters.
That is all
Sorry
that
to
matters
interrupt.
at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So yeah, weed killing with a natural weed kill, which is just basically white vinegar and salt.
Oh, that's what you use.
Yeah,
That's smart.
1 gallon of white vinegar to 1 cup of salt. And
you just spray that on the
spray
weeds?
it on the weeds, and it kills them. It's
I'll have
supposed
to
to be
try
like
that.
almost permanent weed kill, but it does take a couple times. But at the
Nice.
end of the day, you like buy a gallon of white vinegar for like $3, and salt's cheap.
Oh, white vinegar is really cheap,
Yeah,
too.
so
Yeah.
that works nice. Doing that, trying to kill all the damn weeds in the backyard. Let's see what else I do. Oh, I had to fix both of the gates The latches, the wind had killed them.
Damn.
So the front gate I had to fix. And then that fucking project in the front yard, dude, I'm still going on it. I'm almost done. But switching the rocks from in front of the house to by the sidewalk and then putting fucking mulch around the house is taking way longer than I thought. Like, getting the mulch out of the front was just like, I thought it was all mulch. But it was like basically like a very thin layer of mulch on top of like 3 inches of dirt on top of weed barrier.
Okay.
So the weed barrier was doing nothing for the 3 inches of dirt where all of the weeds were growing.
Right.
So I started pulling all that off thinking it was all just fucking wood chips. It was not. I'm going to have to... Oh, no, we're past 10 minutes. Wait for it to get to my turn to start cussing a bunch. But pulled all that stuff out, but it ended up being like so many weird wheelbarrows of dirt that I had to wheel out of there.
Oh, man.
And I finally got it down to just the weed barrier. And I've got like one side switched, the smallest side, of course, where we've got all the mulch in front of the house and the rock by the sidewalk. It looks like 30 times better.
Oh, sweet.
It looks like it's supposed to be that way.
Yeah.
But they didn't do that, so now I'm doing it, and it's taking way longer than I wanted it to. But I'm going to have that done this week. But Saturday night, I did that till like 9 o'clock. I didn't start till like, I did some shit in the morning, and then I took a break, and then like I was doing some shit for the show, posting that stuff for the music break shit. I was doing that, and then I went back out around like 3 and like did that till like 8 or 9.
Gotcha.
And then we finished watching Righteous Gemstones finally.
You caught up? Nice.
Yeah, we watched all that. Pretty hilarious.
That's awesome, isn't it?
It's super funny.
Yeah, I like the way it ended.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah, and then Sunday I went and helped Meryl, and I was still exhausted from, I guess, Saturday because I was like helping her and I was falling asleep.
Like, I was going to say, that sounds like a lot, man.
She's like, people just thought you were looking at your phone, I bet. And I was like, that's fair. I feel pretty embarrassed that I'm like sleeping there. But it is what it is.
Especially if it's nice out. It's so easy to fall asleep in the sun.
And then went home and watched the Nuggets rip out all of our hearts. So
I feel like I've had breakups that were easier to get over than that game.
Yeah, Monday I watched no sports. And we can't listen to stuff at work anymore. That's a new development.
Yep.
And that's been definitely not cool because you
lame.
realize how much shit you listen to at work.
It's great. There's a lot of shit. There's audiobooks.
I've had a schedule of my podcast, like listening.
Oh, me
schedule.
too, man. Yeah, me too. I hear you. Yeah, because they thought it was just like all music and shit. It's like that is a tiny percentage of stuff I listen to. Yep.
Yeah, so
yep,
that was a bummer, but here we are. It's Tuesday. I'm back into sports. I've gotten almost over. I've at least accepted it and come to grips with the reality of things, and we'll get into that a little bit later.
Yeah.
There'll probably be a little bit of homerism aspect in both the NBA and the NHL.
Yeah,
but
well, the game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals starts tonight.
Yep, the Pacers and the Celtics. Pacers at the Celtics starts at 6 o'clock.
I'm really hoping for an upset there.
Yeah, we'll see. At this point, I really don't care who comes out of the East and the West. I just kind of hope the Wolves lose.
Me too. Yeah, sometimes people take that road where it's like, oh, well, if the Wolves win at all, then that makes the Nuggets look better. But because of the way they won.
That's my whole point.
Yeah.
The way they won, kind of the way some of them handled it afterwards. Yeah, at this point, I'm just like, screw them.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's how I feel about it, too. It's just, don't like Gobert, don't like, Towns. It's just like, I mean, I respect them a lot, but, yeah, all right. We're done. We're done with it.
We're done. Let's move on.
We're sad.
Sad day. So we got about 6 minutes before David's going to be joining us.
Let's talk about PGA.
Let's talk about the PGA. The PGA Championship was this weekend at Valhalla.
Valhalla with Odin.
Where the Warriors and the Viking,
these
go
guys
to die, or they go to rest.
This course, dude.
Yeah, a lot of them did. Schauffele wins after basically being highly regarded as the best player, not having won a major entering the weekend. Schauffele scores a total minus 21 over 4 rounds, shooting a 62, a 68, another 68, and a 65 on Sunday.
Yep.
DeChambeau finishes minus 20. And then, Chad, let them know about Victor Hovland. You almost nailed this one.
Yeah, I
You were
can't
right
believe
there.
I almost picked it right. Victor Hovland, I picked him last week to win it all, and he had a chance. I think he was tied. I want to say it was like 8 or 9 on hole 8 or 9, and then Schauffele just went on a run.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
Pulled away.
Came down to him and Bryson on the last hole. Bryson actually went and grabbed his clubs to warm up because he thought he was going to have a playoff. And then Schauffele hits a birdie and then wins it all.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, good for him. It was cool.
Yeah.
I guess he got to call his dad like right after he won. I saw there was some photos of that, which is super cool. But there was a black cloud hanging over this weekend.
Got to talk about this, man.
Yeah.
One of my favorite memes of this is that meme where it's like Tiger holding out his hand to like just give someone a good handshake. And then someone will always photo impose like somebody over that, and that's the meme. Well, this one was Tiger giving props to Scotty Scheffler after getting arrested and then coming back to golf.
Yeah, he came back to golf and shot. I think it was like -6 or something on Friday.
Good. Yeah.
So if you don't know, which I'm sure if you follow sports, you do know, but Friday, or was it Thursday? It was Thursday on his way to the golf course. It was the first day, I think. Or no, it was Friday.
Where's yours Friday?
It was Friday. Yeah. You're right. It was Friday. So Friday, there was a tragedy that did happen at the golf course at Valhalla. Unfortunately, a guy in his like 60s ended up getting hit by a shuttle bus. He did end up dying. Wow. So there was a crazy like traffic jam going into the PGA Championship on Friday, and there was some police that were directing traffic, and Scotty Scheffler just figured, I guess those guys have like a placard that's supposed to allow them to just, go around stuff like that. Mm-hmm. I'm assuming he probably didn't know what had happened, prior with the guy dying.
Right.
But he tried to go around after this cop, I guess, had told him not to, and he thought it was a big misunderstanding. I guess he ended up dragging this cop 10 yards at about 7 miles per hour. The cop did suffer abrasions and bruising and cuts to his knee, and his his police duty pants were ruined. Those are an $80 pair of pants down the drain.
Wow.
But
expensive pants.
Yeah. I mean, it is kind of serious. He did drag a guy, but it does seem like it was kind of blown out of proportion, and the president of the golf course was the one who picked him up from jail. So it's crazy, though. Like, it literally happened in front of everybody. I think there's video of it happening, but there is definitely video of him getting arrested. And then there's a mugshot of him in the orange jumpsuit.
And he said that he warmed up for that day in his jail cell.
Oh, I bet, sitting there.
I mean,
he said he was watching the ticker on ESPN saying he just got arrested.
Oh, my God. I mean, this is something I feel like we're going to get like a 30 for 30 on eventually later, man. I mean, it's just nuts that he went back. It still got the tee off later in the day.
Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. But
totally nuts.
And he did have to use, I don't know if it was because of the incident or what the complication was, but he had to use a different caddy than he's had to use over these past couple months, where he's been just lighting the courses up. And so a lot of people think that kind of led to him having a rough Saturday and kind of falling out of contention.
Yeah, I mean, those guys do rely on those caddies. It's almost like a symbiotic relationship.
It's like a coach, it's like a...
Like when Tiger broke up with his first caddy, it was like a big deal. They were like, is he going to be the same, because you don't realize like those guys are sitting there kind of like reading you and being like, hey man, I don't know if we should do that right now, or like maybe we should do this.
Use the 4-iron,
hit the 4, or grip it and rip it. John
Daly,
right. Dude. Get the driver out, hit it off the fairway.
I did see some posts about like Scotty, and it was like, I think John Daly would approve. I would imagine.
I did see because he played on Thursday. I think he had like they talked about his consumption for the day, and it was like a whole bunch of Snickers, 2 packs of cigarettes,
M&Ms.
Yeah.
I don't know how the guy's still alive, but it is a wonder, and I think he is
He doesn't look like he's doing well. But
Yeah.
he just had cancer not too long ago.
That's true.
So the guy's a fucking trooper. But
he's holding up.
yeah, he's definitely holding up. Well, it's about that time.
It is.
It is that time. So we're gonna give David Harrison a call right now. Let us give him a jingle jangle.
Here we go.
Hello.
Hey, what's up, David? This is Chris with Fringe Fanatics. How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Doing pretty good. Thanks for hopping on with this, man. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, I appreciate the invite.
Thanks, man.
Hey, this is Chad here. I'm the one who reached out to you. Thanks a lot for coming on. We're super stoked to kind of get your insight on the Commanders. They had a high draft pick this year, and there's a new ownership group. So we had to have on an insider, especially somebody that's in depth as you are, to try to give us a little clue into what we can expect this upcoming season.
Yeah, man, if you could just
I appreciate the invite.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, if you could, man, just give us a rundown kind of, of where people can find you, and then we'll get into it.
Yeah, on Twitter, it's dharrison82, and then commandergameday.com. It's part of Sports Illustrated's group of sites, and then Locked On Commanders, 5 days a week doing the podcast. That's audio or YouTube, really, wherever anybody can get a podcast, it's there.
Yeah, man. The Locked On, the whole podcasting thing is you guys are all incredibly tuned in to each team, and it's we appreciate you hopping on with all you've got going on. So we'll get into it. With everything going on, Jaden Daniels obviously is the biggest pick this year. OTAs have started. How's it looking out there?
It's looking new. I think is probably the best way to put it right now. New and energetic. I mean, there's this team had the most roster turnover of any team in the NFL this year. I think it's something like 48, 52%, something crazy like that. Not the entire roster, but certainly a lot of new names and faces. And that's what we had the rookie minicamp first, and then getting to see all the new guys who are starting their NFL careers. But then the first OTA was really just kind of keeping your head on a swivel and you constantly are seeing these jersey numbers, and you're having to check your roster to see who is that guy and who is this guy, and do all this stuff. So, and then you're also trying to watch these new coaches and how they interact with the players and together. But, I can tell you just from the first, complete OTA practice with the veterans and rookies in place, if there's one word that you can describe this new environment as, it's energetic, and it's a lot of fun to watch so far.
Nice. Chad, you go ahead.
Well, it's just nice to see kind of like a new vibe around the Commanders. I think it's just good to get a new ownership group in there because it's just kind of been tainted for a while. A lot of people haven't been, no offense or anything like that, just kind of like not excited about the Commanders franchise. But I think I can speak for myself and Chris and a lot of other people out there that are really stoked to see where this comes from. I mean, to be honest, man, I'm sure you feel the same way. I'm tired of the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Tired of hearing about the Cowboys, man. I would love if you guys usurped them in a way of just like, whether it be the Eagles or not, just like kind of moved up. I'm a Chiefs fan myself, so I was a really big fan of Eric Bieniemy going there. It was a bummer to see him leave. But, you guys got Austin Eckler there, now Bobby Wagner, Zach Ertz, Tyler, how do you say his last name? Biadasz?
Biadasz,
okay. Cool. So, I mean, there's a lot of excitement around these new players. And then, of course, Dan Quinn. I mean, I would love to see if he got that defense looking like Dallas's.
Yeah, that would be a lot of fun. I think that's kind of the intent, right? Is Dan Quinn and Joe Wade Jr. both bringing what they were able to do in Dallas, but also what they were able to learn in Dallas. I think that's kind of the biggest part, and maybe what's the most exciting part from a defensive standpoint is both of you guys have kind of said like their intention is to replicate the success, obviously, that they had in Dallas, but not necessarily replicate the exact defense. Like it's not going to be the exact same looks that you saw in Dallas from these guys that you're going to see in Washington, and that's really where the creativity can kind of come in. And they've got a lot of different coaches, whether it's position coaches, they got a run game coordinator, pass game coordinator on the defense and the offensive side. So just a lot of smart people involved there. So you add all of that in with new guys like Frankie Louvu, who, playing for the Carolina Panthers, talking about franchises that are kind of in rough waters, like he was still able to kind of stand out from that defense as an impact player despite all of the turmoil going on there. So you're really excited to kind of see what he can do with this unit. And As far as the Cowboys are concerned, like a lot of people don't like to admit it, but honestly, the NFL is better off when the Cowboys are relevant. I'm okay not seeing them hoisting any more Lombardis, but we can keep that streak alive and well. I'm fine with that, but I do think
definitely.
the NFL is happier when they're at least competitive. But you guys know, like, the AFC West is always better when the Broncos and Chiefs can really go at each other. So that's it's kind of the same same thing. Chargers fans and Raiders fans may not appreciate it, but when the Broncos and Chiefs can really live up that rivalry, I think the AFC West is better off for it.
Yeah, and speaking of the Broncos, I mean, we're pretty much in the same boat yet again, new ownership and another new quarterback. So hopefully we've got the quarterback of the future. I don't know. You guys, it does seem like Jaden Daniels may be that guy, at least the quarterback for the next 4 to 5 years for sure. But in terms of, you spoke a lot about the new people coming in and the new faces. I think GM Adam Peters is one of the better acquisitions this offseason in terms of in the front office, and just his vision in both the draft and free agency, as Chad mentioned, signing Austin Eckler, Bobby Wagner, and Ertz, and just bolstering the trenches. Do you guys feel pretty good about his vision in terms of the draft and as well as, free agency moving forward?
Yeah, I think Adam Peters has been a really great addition. I saw someone, I can't remember, like ESPN or The Athletic, one of those publications wrote that he is actually the biggest, most important offseason acquisition the team made this year, and I think that's pretty accurate. I think from him kind of comes the rest of the moves that they've been able to make, and we're able to make it even up until today, adding another executive from the Detroit Lions organization, where they already got their assistant GM. Now they're getting another one who's a young stud in the league right now in front office circles. So just making a lot more moves. But even if you take it a level beyond that to Josh Harris, right? Like, he was kind of faced with, a task that in multiple ways you can kind of look at it as almost an easy one. Like, can you really get any worse if you're the Washington Commanders and you're the new managing partner of this team? Can you really do worse than the last guy did? Not really. But at the same time, this is a fan base that's not just looking to be better than the last guy, because that's easy, right? They want to be good again. They want to be competitive again. And that's really where Josh Harris's challenge is. And for him, and personally, like, he's a guy who grew up as a young kid walking in RFK Stadium, watching the Hogs and watching guys like Art Monk and things like that, be able to do what they were able to do. And now he's got Doug Williams on the payroll. And when he was younger, Doug Williams is a guy that he watched lead his favorite team to the Super Bowl. So he has kind of a fan investment in it, but also that business savvy. And I think that Josh really kind of took a really good approach in the way that he went about this rebuild, even though nobody here wants to call it a rebuild, and went out and found the right people and didn't just hire names because they're the sexiest names on the market, but he hired the guys that had a similar vision and have the same purpose-driven approach to what they're doing. And I think you've seen that just on down the line from Adam Peters, and then going and getting Dan Quinn, whether he was the first option, fourth option, doesn't matter. At the end of the day, the vision and the personalities are aligning, and that's all you need, whether it's the first person you try to hire, or the fourth, and then, the coaching staff, again, falling in line. So right now, all the pieces look like they're falling into place. You mentioned it already. We kind of said the same thing about Eric Bieniemy as well. So, what sounds good in May doesn't always look good in October.
Yeah.
So we'll see if they can put everything together, how quickly they can put everything together. But yeah, for right now, it certainly passes the sniff test. I can tell you that.
Yeah, I don't know why rebuild is such a bad word in the NFL. I mean, in most pro sports, I feel like rebuild is like a 4-letter word with a lot more letters in it. Yeah. But I mean, the Broncos themselves have been in rebuild for the last 9 years, I feel like, without saying it. But now I feel like they're kind of finally admitting it, and things are moving forward. So, I've never got that, why rebuild is just such a, I don't know why they hate it, why they don't want to admit it.
Yeah, the first step to getting better is to admit you have a problem,
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know what?
There you go.
You got to do that. But, man, I got to ask you about the dude. You're one of your draft picks that I am honed in on more than any other, and I know you're pretty psyched for him, Mr. Mike Sainristil, excuse me.
Yeah.
This guy,
yep.
I went through and watched his highlights today. Watched a lot of Michigan games last year. Then it reminded me of who he was. I can't believe you guys were able to grab him. I don't know how he fell, just even to the second round, because of how good he was. Is like you mentioned on one of your most recent podcasts, he's probably the best defensive player on the best defense in college last year. And it's got to be said, it was unfortunate. Washington had the last ranked pass defense in the league last year. I think he's going to make a big difference playing that nickel spot. And he was a ball hawk last year.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, and you like the production, you like the skill set, and I think probably the most valuable thing in my mind for Washington, right? Like Mike Sanderson was a guy that I was in love with before the NFL draft process. So I'm a Buckeye fan. My father grew up outside of Columbus, raised me to be a Buckeye fan. I watched 3 Michigan games as a football fan last year, and Michigan won all 3 of them. It was the playoff games, and then when they beat the brakes off Ohio State. So unfortunately for that, I got to see Mike Sanderson do his work, but fortunately, I got to see him and really kind of fall in love with him as a prospect early on. And then as the draft process just went on and the more tape I was able to get my hands on, the more I was able to watch him, just the better off he looks, you know. And I think the reason he falls to the second round is because he is a nickel, but he's only a nickel. Like he's a guy who's going to be a nickel or he's going to be a nothing. Like there's no versatility. There's no perimeter ability. There's no free safety future for him. And to some teams, that's, you know, that is versatility is the golden goose. So they kind of want that as much as possible. For the Washington Commanders, they look at him and say, we'd rather have the best at this one position than get a guy who's average at a lot of positions, especially on day 2, like you mentioned. To go out and you get him, he's got leadership, he's got the fire to ask. I'll tell you what, man, like you talk to him about pretty much anything in life, and he's a very personable person. The second the conversation turns to football, there's like a fire behind his eyes that just turns on, and this dude is a baller. And I can't wait to see him on the field. And I do think that he's going to help stabilize that defense. If anything, like I said, because of the context in Washington, with Quan Martin out of Illinois, I really like Quan as well. I like the versatility in his game. But the problem with the versatility in his game is the coaching staff last year could never figure out where they wanted to put him. Sometimes he was in the nickel. Sometimes he was at the free safety position. Sometimes he's almost lined up like a linebacker, which is just weird. But this staff, I think they're also going to aim to make Quan Martin just a straight-up free safety with a little bit of nickel versatility in him, which will help both of those guys really kind of focus on their craft, hone in on what they need to improve in. And like you said, I think that Mike individually, but also Quan Martin, because of the residue there, can both be impact players on defense.
Yeah, I mean, we saw what Dan Quinn was able to do with guys like Trayvon Diggs and even someone with Stephon Gilmore, who was, you know, way, you know, past his kind of like prime, but still had some good, you know, reps there in Dallas. So I could definitely see Dan Quinn getting the best out of those guys and the most potential possible. So I think that was a great pick, and I'm really looking forward to see what he does for you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Same here.
Another big pick, which I was bummed out on, I was hoping he would fall to the Broncos, is Luke McCaffrey, and that's for reasons, you know, obviously known. He grew up here. He spent most of his time as a quarterback in college, playing at Nebraska and then transferring to Rice before finally deciding to move into wide receiver, where he was their leading receiver. But this is the fastest McCaffrey brother. Let's not forget that. I mean, he, you know, he is the youngest, obviously, and he had to grow up with a lot of hazing and stuff from his older brothers. But this guy is kind of that like elusive slot receiver guy who's going to do a lot, I think, in terms of just adding a kind of a Swiss Army knife aspect on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, the thing about Luke that's really interesting, you mentioned the family, right? And obviously, very competitive, very athletic family. I was actually talking to Dane Brugler of The Athletic leading up to the NFL draft. We were talking about quarterbacks, and one of the reasons he really liked Drake May over Jaden is he's a big subscriber to the big brother rule, right? And the big brother, if you got big brothers, they just make you a little bit more competitive, make you a little bit more hungry to go find success and all those things. And I think Luke McCaffrey kind of embodies that. And, you know, his family's very supportive, obviously. They know what he's going through. He's got a lot of great mentors to lean on as far as how to carve out an NFL career. But at the same time, like I think anybody in any family, like if Luke can be the best McCaffrey to ever put on the pads, you know, that's what he wants to do. And I'm really excited for him as well. He made the catch of the day. The first OTA practice we were able to watch, he was able to get past the cornerback. And actually, Jeff Driscoll, who's competing for the third quarterback spot here in Washington, was able to deliver a ball into the end zone. And Luke stretched out, you know, went out there for it, no pads on, no nothing, just went out there, laid out for it, and made the catch. And then him and Zach Ertz celebrated in the end zone. It was just a really cool way to kind of see very early on. Again, you got Jeff Driscoll, this veteran third string quarterback, you know, competing honestly for the bottom of the roster, laying it out to this third round pick that a lot of people have a lot of name recognition, you know, they're trying not to get too wrapped up in the name, trying to focus on the skills. And then you got him celebrating with Zach Ertz, who's, you know, in the twilight of his career, just kind of like a full circle, just every element of where the Commanders are in their I'll call it rebuild if they don't want to. kind of coming together there. But also personally, like, I don't have the personal connection that with Luke that Adam Peters does, but I mean, you guys see my area code, so you probably figured out that I'm from Colorado.
We wanted to
I'm
ask
from
you about
Castle Rock,
that.
so yeah, so I'm from Castle Rock, so I always call Christian McCaffrey the pride of Castle Rock, Colorado, and I've always kind of put that little feather in my cap. So now here's Luke, who went to Highlands Ranch, which technically was actually a rival of the high school that I went to.
Yeah.
But it's still a cool little connection. I haven't gotten a chance to talk to him about that yet, but we're certainly going to have that conversation about home. It's interesting. It's actually the second commander who's come through here who's from that area. Nolan Lossenberg, he was a practice squad offensive lineman the last 2 years, is from Castle Rock, actually. So it's nice to have that connection back to home. But, also at the same time, very talented young man. It's interesting, actually, because we saw him at rookie minicamp, and then we saw him at OTAs, and some of us swear that he got smaller. It's like 1 week of practice, and somehow he shrunk like 2 inches. But he played big, and that's all that matters.
Took the lifts out.
So I'm looking forward to seeing what he's able to do.
Yeah, man. Once you start interviewing him too, he popped on one of the local sports radio shows, and he sounds exactly like his dad. Like the same mannerisms when they speak and everything. Like I for a second I thought that his dad was talking, and then they're like, "Yeah, that was Luke the whole time." And even they were like, "He sounds exactly like his dad."
That's crazy.
So we know we don't want to keep you too long. Let's end this though. You spoke about having the same area code. You are a Nuggets fan, man. It came to an end.
And
it sucked.
Yeah.
It was heartbreaking, man. It was one of the tougher losses I've had to swallow. The last one that was probably this bad was the Raheem Moore bomb that he got burned on by Joe Flacco. That's probably the worst I've felt since then.
Yeah. So I think I'm kind of fortunate, right? Because of my, I don't know how old you guys are, but because of my age, I'm a little bit older. I had to live through, the Carmelo years.
Yeah.
And, Chauncey and Allen and all those guys, Kenyon and those guys. And just year after year, man, you get bounced by the Lakers. Yeah. I dig it. But just watching the team get bounced by the Lakers and having such a, admirational hate for Kobe Bryant, right? Just every single year.
He
so
loved killing the
for
Nuggets.
one, yeah, absolutely. For one, this team winning the championship, to be quite honest, because of the generation of Nuggets fans I come from, I think I'll be okay for the rest of my life, to be quite honest with you. If this team never wins another championship, I'm all right. The fact that I got to see one, I'm good. Don't get me wrong, I'd love as many as we can get. But also, to see where the NBA is today, and they're nowhere near the NFL, but this is going to be the 6th year that the NBA is going to crown a new champion.
Yep.
That is amazing to me. And that's not something that would have ever happened in my younger generation of watching basketball. And as much as I loved MJ and watching those Bulls runs and all that stuff, sports is just better when anybody can win it. And the NBA, like I said, they're not there yet. But they're in this mix of
they're pretty close.
Anybody from these 10 teams can win the championship. And I love Anthony Edwards. You know what I mean? I love him. I cover the Washington Wizards. I remember when he was coming out of the draft, if there was a chance that he could be on a team that I would get to cover, I would have just absolutely loved it. So, there's a little bit of a fandom there, just appreciating his game. I also appreciate the fact that Karl Anthony Towns is getting no love for this run because I don't know why, bro, but I just don't like Cat. So there's a little bit of mixture in there. But you know what, man? The Nuggets aren't going anywhere. Yeah.
I just think
the
the
Nuggets aren't
series
going
made
anywhere.
me hate him more.
Did it? Yeah. I mean, I think I was already maxed out, so I don't think I could get any more. But when he put back that dagger, I mean, I don't know if it was the dagger, but when he put that shot back, the other night, I was just like, man, I was like, why has it got to be him? Let it be Rudy. I don't care. Let it be the COVID King. I don't care. You know what I mean? But why has it got to be Cat putting the dagger in right there? So it is what it is. I'd love to see Anthony Edwards get a ring, especially as young as he is. Let's get all the MJ and Kobe comparisons going. I don't care if it's too early. I love that kind of crap just because people get so mad about it.
It's funny to
but
talk
the
about,
Nuggets
too.
aren't going anywhere. They'll be right back here in the situation next year, I think. And I'm excited for it.
Yeah, I agree. I think they're going to be back too. The apron has definitely just totally opened up who can compete, and Minnesota better win it this year because once they pay Ant, you know, with them winning this series and more than likely going on to the finals, and I think whoever won this series was going to win it all. They better win this year, because once they pay Ant, once they have Rudy and Cat all on max contracts, they're going to be just like the Nuggets. You can't build a team around them, and that's why we're all talking about trading MPJ now. So well,
it's rough, but sometimes you got to do what you got to do.
That's true, man. Well, we greatly appreciate you hopping on with us, man. We'll let you get out of here on that one. Thanks for jumping on with us, talking all things Commanders, as well as a little bit of Nuggets. That's super rad.
Yeah, it's pretty cool you're a Nuggets fan. I got to ask real quick if you got time. So are you a Commanders fan, or were you a Broncos fan all growing up, or how'd that work out?
I'm a Frankfurt Galaxy fan. So, again, I don't know how old you guys are, but the old NFL World League.
Okay.
My father was in the Army.
We're mid-30s.
Yeah, my father. Okay, yeah. So you're a little bit older, but my father was in the Army, and my first, I guess I'll have to call it American football because it was in Germany, but the first American football game I ever saw, handful of American football games I ever saw was in Germany when he was stationed there, and it was the Frankfurt Galaxy. So the Frankfurt Galaxy are my favorite football team of all time. So I can't get into it tonight necessarily, but if you guys invite me back again, we can get into it another time. My father was in the Army, so obviously I'm just kind of from everywhere, right?
Yeah.
So I didn't really grow up with a favorite team. My father was not an NFL guy. He's a college guy, Buckeyes. Again, his two favorite, I actually once cornered him, and he said if he had to pick a favorite NFL team, it would be either the Vikings or the Packers, which shows you he's not an NFL guy.
Yeah, you can't have those two teams in favorite.
Yeah, exactly. So it makes no sense. So, so I never had an NFL team to grow up watching. So again, Frankfurt Galaxy is my favorite team. My father had an experience I actually had the experience of John Elway when I was a kid, but the experience that I had made my father hate him. And because of that, we never rooted for the Broncos. So I've been to Mile High for Broncos Chiefs, and we were cheering for the Chiefs. Broncos Bucks, we were cheering for the Bucks. So that kind of, I don't want to say soured me on the Broncos because I don't hate them. I love Steve Atwater, Shannon Sharpe, Terrell Davis, all those guys. Yeah. So, I definitely have an affinity for the Broncos, just being from Colorado. I think you kind of have to. And certainly I have plenty of friends who are Broncos fans. So when the Broncos win, and I took the days off in high school for the Super Bowl parade, even though I didn't go to the parade. Still took those days off, so why not? You know what I mean? So I still have some affinity there, but, I joined the Army myself at 17. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Castle Rock, Colorado. I appreciate you guys. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Castle Rock. I don't know where exactly you live. Yeah,
definitely.
So I went to Daniel C. Oaks High School, which is the school for those kids, right? So that's who I was in high school at the time. From there, I joined the Army at 17, just kind of bounced around the world from there. And I actually started covering NFL, covering the Buccaneers. They were really good to me. And even though I was still active in the Army, they allowed me, whenever I had the opportunity to, they would credential me, let me come to training camp games, whatever I could make it to, they would help me out with, which is super rare in the NFL, and I'll forever be indebted to them. And then when I retired from the Army, really the story is my wife didn't want to go to Florida. So we figured we found a market that I might be able to break into. We moved here to Virginia, and we made the deal that if I didn't break into the sports scene here in Washington or in Virginia within 3 years, that she would bite the bullet. We'd move to Tampa, and I would take advantage of my connections with Florida. And it took about 6 months, I think, and I got into the Commanders and the Wizards beat. And so here we are. We're in Virginia now. So so I'm an Army brat. I'm from everywhere, but Colorado's home. Colorado will always be home.
Cool, man.
Well, that's a fascinating story.
That's why I still have the area code.
That's cool.
That's a little bit about me.
Well, man, thank you again for hopping on. It's great. It was great talking to you. I'd like to hear more about your story. Maybe sometime. I know you guys are super busy, but maybe sometime, quarter point of the season or something, we can have you hop on and kind of, just chat about what's going on in Commanderville.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate you guys. Appreciate the invite anytime you want to extend it.
Awesome, man.
Awesome. Thank you so much, David.
Yeah,
you guys have a good one.
You do the same, man. Have a great night. Thanks again.
Yep. Take it easy.
Thank you.
Bye.
All right.
Oh, I had hung up on him a little bit early. That was a quick hang up. My bad.
That was good.
Yeah,
man,
no, that was
cool.
Really good. So
it's
David,
pretty cool that he was from lived here in Colorado too. Didn't really expect that.
Yeah, we actually found that out today when we were listening to the podcast, and we heard the commercial where he was talking about his Nuggets losing, and I was like, oh shit!
And we saw his 720 number, so it's like, all right, hell yeah,
in the area. So that was super cool. David Harrison of the Locked On Commanders podcast, also a credentialed member of the media for the Commanders and the CommanderGameDay.com.
I think we can see why he's credentialed too. Really knows his stuff.
Yeah, definitely. He's super informed. I was gonna ask if he was gonna go if he was at OTAs, but now it makes sense. He is there.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
Well. What do you want to do? It's about that time. Let's just take the
musical break. Yep, let's do it.
All right. Well, let me get that burp out of the way. All this month we have Thelma and the SLEAZE as the music break guest. They are self-proclaimed the best DIY queer. You can say it right there because they said it.
Yep.
Best queer rock band coming out of the South. So make sure to go and check them out. The name of this song is Black Car. It is coming at you right now.
Thank you for choosing Black Car for your journey. Please keep your hands and fingers inside the vehicle at all times. We ask that you observe the exits to your left and also to your right. Thank you again for choosing Black Car. We hope you enjoy your trip and happy snail trail.
You just heard Thelma and the SLEAZE. The name of that song was Black Car. If you dig Thelma and the SLEAZE, make sure to go and give them, a like and a follow on all things streaming, whether that be Spotify, Apple Music, whatever you listen to music to on, Go find them and like them and follow them. And as well, if you are in Denver, you can see them June 6th. With my band, The Born Readies, as well as Team Non-Existent. Tickets are $15 pre-sale and $18 day of show. So you can catch them in Denver in about a month, less than a month. Oh my God, it's like 2 weeks. It's 2 weeks away. It's crazy. But if not, you are outside of Denver, you can find their tour information as well as purchase music and merch directly from them at ThelmaandTheSLEAZE.com. So make sure to go there and buy something, because why not, But thank you guys. We appreciate them letting us play their music, and I'm excited to play a show with them. It's going to be exciting.
Yeah. Should be a good time.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I was about when I saw the date, I was like, shit, that's the same day I'm going to the Tim Dillon show.
I'm not allowed, dude. You got to come to my show.
Yeah, I feel bad. I'll try to do both.
Just split yourself into two people.
Clone myself.
Make it happen.
I'm down.
All right, well, let's fly through this because we want to get to the MLB a little bit at least.
We're gonna try.
We're going to do our best. But let's get into the NBA. Let's get into the NBA.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Take it roll! Take it roll! Outlet! Outlet! Rain dance! Sandy, come on! Sandy! T! Come out! I'm burning. My lungs are burning.
Well, we've got one headline in the NBA to speak about, and that is Victor Wembanyama wins his first all-defensive first team.
And the first rookie to ever do so.
I said that weird. He becomes the first player in NBA history to make the league's all-defensive team as a rookie. So good for him. The other guys filling out the starting five are Rudy Gobert, Bam Adebayo, New Orleans Herb Jones, and Anthony Davis, which I feel like is surprising. But
Anthony Davis had a really good stat line for his defense this year. I think he probably would have been third for Defensive Player of the Year. But yeah, there's a few. I didn't really know about Herb Jones. I don't really know anything about him.
no, I like how you said herb.
Yeah, smoking the herb.
Also, Victor Wembanyama and Chet Holmgren were both unanimous selections for the NBA's all-rookie team this season. So, along with Brandon Miller, Jaime Jaquez Jr., and Brandon Podziemski from the Golden State Warriors.
Yeah, that dude Brandon on both Brandons, Brandon Miller and the guy on the Warriors, he had a really good year.
Yeah, he did. He could shoot the hell out of the ball. So good on them. But let's get into the fat. Let's chew on it a little bit.
Let's do it.
The NBA playoffs.
Well, the Pacers defeated the Knicks in Game 7 in New York. I thought it was really lame of Paul Pierce to dog Jalen Brunson and like stomp on his jersey and stuff like that. This is a guy that carried his team there, an injured team. No OG Anunoby, no Julius Randle. Eventually lost Mitchell Robinson.
Yeah.
I mean, this team was completely banged up, and Brunson was still dragging him to Game 7 where he fractured his hand. I mean, you can't talk about the heart anymore. I mean, they've just the courage out of this Knicks team, but they were just too injured.
Yeah, and, you know, I had the hot take of saying that they were going to come out of the East, but yeah, like you said, the injuries just piled up. I mean, Brunson, aside from the hand, was far from healthy going into this.
He had that ankle injury, too.
He had a lingering ankle that would not go away, and, yeah, they just couldn't overcome it. He ends up getting hurt, broken hand. The Pacers win 130-109 and also set an NBA record for shooting percentage in the playoffs as they went 67.1% overall.
Yeah.
Highest in a playoff game in NBA history.
They were shooting the hell
And
out
that
of
was
the ball.
after they cooled off in the second half.
Yeah, because the first half, I think they were up to like 76, 77%. Yeah, shooting. It's just, you know, they fell down to 67, but most times, you know, if you're shooting that hot, you're going to level out around 50 or so.
Yeah.
But, you know, just unreal. They were just shooting the hell out of the ball. You got to think about the fact that the Pacers really, the card that they drew by getting the injured Bucks, no Giannis, Dame was super banged up.
Yeah.
There was other players on the Bucks are injured, and then getting a Knicks team that was riddled with injuries. It's just, you know, they still took advantage of the opportunity. You can't knock them for that, but that leads you to think, are they just going to get clobbered by the Celtics?
It's tough to say because the Celtics have been waiting for a while now. They handily dealt with the Cavs in 5 games.
Yeah, that was not a problem.
It was not a problem, and they've just been sitting and waiting since the 15th.
Yeah, but
almost a week off. They've
Yeah.
just been hanging out, watching the Pacers. You know, they haven't really had to expend themselves much because of the injuries to the Knicks. But I mean,
they haven't really been battle tested.
no, and that's the thing. What's going to happen when they get punched in the mouth? But the Pacers are a pretty good defensive team, and if they can,
you say the Pacers are a defensive team?
well, I mean, I think if they can get in the way of the Celtics shooting threes, which isn't that hard to do.
Yeah.
If you can knock the Celtics off of shooting threes, they're very easy to beat.
Yeah.
So all you have to do is just get out there and defend the perimeter, and you don't even really have to worry about the paint that much with Porzingis still out. So,
and the Pacers really live up to their namesake. I mean, they put up points. They're going to shoot from anywhere, everywhere, whether it goes in or not. They're going to keep shooting. We brought it up before that series even started, how the Knicks were the worst when it comes to fast break points, fast-paced play, and the Pacers were the best in the league at that, and we saw which, overcame it. So, which one come out on top. So, if the Pacers could keep pushing the pace, I think there's a real chance they could just wear out the Celtics just like they did with the Knicks.
Yeah. So, I think this is going to be a decent series. If I had to call it right now, I'm going to say, I think the Celtics are going to win probably in 5-6. But we'll see. If you look on, let's see, I'm on BetMGM. The Celtics are minus 900.
Wow.
So
the Pacers are undefeated at home these playoffs too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. They could upset them, but I just don't think they're gonna. Like you said, they're not battle tested. What's gonna happen the one time they get punched in the mouth?
I really think it's gonna go to at least 6. I think there's a chance the Pacers could pull it off. But I think the Celtics take it in 6. They play tonight at 6 p.m. on ESPN. Let's hope that we get like Doris and JJ on the call. That'd be good.
And you could be talking about the future coach of the LA Lakers, JJ Redick.
I think it would almost be more exciting if LeBron took it over as the coach. I think that would be fascinating.
He just is. It's like Pete Rose back in the day,
Exactly.
the old player coach, player manager.
There used to be a basketball
He basically
player.
is. I mean, he told, God damn it. What's his name? The coach that just got fired, Darvin Ham. He basically was like, "Give me the shit, I got."
Yeah.
And start writing out the play. Like, don't listen to what he's saying. He ain't real.
Well, if his basketball IQs and all that is so high, which I mean it definitely is, they just let him do it. I mean, could you just? I was thinking about this the other day. If you're Jeannie Buss, could you imagine the ratings to watch him? All right, I'm going to take a timeout. I'm going to sit real quick, catch a breather. I want you to go in there.
Play, yeah.
Like,
I mean, he basically does anyway.
he does anyway.
Shit
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You save money by not hiring, and then you just get a good assistant
Why pay
coaching.
a coach, $10 million a year, dude?
Yeah. Well, and who they wanted is Budenhauser, who got $12 million for the Suns.
Exactly. It could be even more than that.
Yeah.
So
Let's move
game
over
one
to the
is
West.
tonight.
Yeah.
It's tipped off now. Let me see if we got a score.
I don't want to turn it on because I don't want to kick off the internet or anything like that. But,
Well, let me see if we got a score.
we don't have a score yet.
It still
already
says
on it.
they must be doing long intros or something. So.
Yep.
Damn them.
But tomorrow night is the first game of the Mavs and Timberwolves game.
I don't want to talk about it.
Yep. I don't either. Yeah, Minnesota's favored by 4.5 points in this first game. Oh, that's weird.
What happened?
My computer
Oh, yeah.
just-
So you got Minnesota minus 4.5. In terms of the series, if you're looking at series winner, the Timberwolves are favored minus 185 to the Mavericks plus 150. In terms of when the game will end, 6 games plus 200, 5 games plus 220, 4 games plus 550. So they're thinking it's going to be probably 6-7 games.
Mhm.
I don't know. If the Timberwolves will keep playing like they're playing, the Mavs are so beat up they could win it in 5.
The defense, it's just hard to, not respect it. The defense they put on the Nuggets is like a historic level defense. They were just swarming everything, causing Jamal Murray to have turnovers that is very uncharacteristic of him. I just really think that we're looking at one of the best defenses we've seen in playoff history. So that's going up against a Mavs team that could easily score 120, 130 throughout the season. If they can hit shots, we could have a good series. But, if they start to fall cold, I think the Timberwolves just roll in this. I hope the Mavs win, though. That's where my heart lies. So I don't want to see the Timberwolves win.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, after what they did to us, I just can't. I can't even.
Well, and they're the
stand
new
to root
rival.
for 'em.
They
are.
That's what
because
it was. The big
Lakers.
topic is it was the Lakers, and it was a big topic on ESPN of how the Nuggets rivalry has shifted from the Lakers because in order to be a rivalry, we all know about this. You got to have one side kind of win, and it's got to be even. But
We beat them last year. They beat us this year.
Yep. But with
Sucks,
the Lakers,
but-
there's been so much beating them. It's not really a rivalry
Yeah, at
anymore.
this point, yeah. But those Lakers fans love that we lost. They are coming out of the woodwork, just railing on the Nuggets now. So it is what it is, man. Here's my thoughts on it real quick, and this is going to be all as we're going to say, and then we're going to move on. After the way they played the Lakers, we should have known that they weren't going to make it far.
Yeah.
I think we didn't want to believe it, and I think we were thinking maybe they just thought they were taking it off, but I think there was something seriously wrong. I don't know what it is, and I can't put a finger on it. Maybe it is MPJ.
It dates back to a little bit before that, though. I mean, Zach By brought it up on Mile High Hoops, how, it's the Spurs game.
No,
I brought this up to you.
The Spurs game is that right there is the the linchpin of the season.
And he did touch on that. Like, let's say we played the Mavs. Eventually, you're going to play the Timberwolves in the finals.
Doesn't
anyway.
matter. Yeah.
So it seems like that seeding didn't really matter, but it's around that time because we all talked about it right after the All-Star break. Jokic sent out that text, and then they just went on a heater, winning ton of games, and then right about 2-3 weeks before the season ended, they started to taper off. And their offense started lacking. They started to fall. They barely beat the Jazz, like a horrible team.
Yeah.
And so we saw these concerns before the playoffs, and it just seems like they couldn't ever right the ship.
I don't think they should have ever made the push for first.
Yeah,
I mean,
it cost Jamal getting hurt.
It killed them. And then, then they were struggling. And, they weren't on a good uptick going into the playoffs. They were on a downturn, and then then the Lakers happened, and they should have swept the Lakers handily.
They should have,
and they didn't. And then
I mean, even though they beat them, they were behind, and every single game to the Lakers.
And then you look at the second round, they
got beat by 45 one game. I mean, it just seemed like, I don't know where the heart was at. I think they were clearly intimidated by this, but I've said it to Chris many times. If you take a look at that series and are just not, like, if you're Calvin Booth and are not just shopping around to get another big immediately, then what the hell are you doing?
Well, and, this is something that came out at the beginning of the season. Calvin Booth said, I'm not building a team to win back-to-back championships. I'm building a team to win 3 in 6 years. Because I think now with the way the apron is, and it's much like I brought up when we were talking to David, is the Timberwolves, if they don't win it this year, they're going to be in the exact same situation where you can't build a team around the guys.
Well, I mean, even if they don't win it this year, you got to think Ant's going to get paid.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
they're gonna have to pay him, and then they got 3 max guys, and then you're in the second apron, and then you can't get any mid-tier free agent guys at all.
And I was reading,
we couldn't even get Bruce Brown back.
Yeah, all the stipulations and shit, and you can't. There's like trades and stuff you can't do
anything.
Yeah, you're locked
guys
in.
you've signed can't get traded. It's shit like that. It's
and
weird.
we got to decide what we're going to do with KCP. Are we going to try to,
because
he's going to be a free agent,
and that could really fuck him.
Yeah.
So, it's tough to say. And it's just
cut
like
in PJ. That's all I'm saying. That'd fix a lot of it, man.
But what are you going to get, though, man? This team, you're talking about the best starting 5 in the NBA when they're playing good, and then you're taking away, not necessarily, he is a big part of it, but
okay.
Are you going to get, you're going to take the money off the books, and you can maybe get a free agent guy, but I'm worried about what you're going to get and not, I don't know.
This is, to me, I know basketball and football is a little bit different, but has Dak Prescott not been one of the best regular season quarterbacks over the last 2 to 3 years? But in the playoffs, he chokes.
Yeah.
He chokes. I would much rather have a guy that, Marquez Valdes-Scantling has been shitty the last 2 years.
Yeah.
But he might be good for the Bills in the playoffs because that's sometimes people's personas, or that's just their personalities, where they could just be great during the regular season, but sometimes in the playoffs. Last year, MPJ, he's great against the Lakers, but to average 7 points and make over $30 million a year, averaged 7 points in this Timberwolves game. Last year in the Heat series, he almost cost us the series.
Yeah.
Even though we still won 4-1, it's just like he couldn't ever make a shot. That's what you get paid to do. And you're big enough, you should be going in and driving in and getting post-up points. But you're not, because you're afraid of your back. So when there's health issues, when you're shooting that cold, it's a clear-cut answer. Let's just cut him.
Well, you can't cut him, but you get, because he's got 3 years, so you got to trade him and hope someone's going to
trade him. Is what I meant. Yeah,
contract. But there's questions, and you're pretty much hogtied right now unless you trade somebody like that.
Yep.
So we'll see what they do. It's either that. It did sound like they were hoping that Malone would play the young guys, and he did not this year.
No,
and that
Peyton Watson got 0 minutes pretty much, even though he played
even
almost.
Hunter, even Julian Strother. Those guys got no time in the regular season.
Malone does not play those young guys, man.
And it's hard to develop and draft when you don't.
Yeah.
And that's kind of another thing, too. Like, maybe someone needs to have a talk with Malone and be like, yo,
that's why
we drafted these guys.
Why we
gotta
drafted
fucking
them.
play them.
Yeah.
They got to get some rotation.
Julian Strother was great at Gonzaga.
Yeah.
Peyton
He was
Watson
ba-
was awesome
like a
during the
mini
regular
Jokic.
season.
Yeah.
How many times were we losing games during the regular season? Peyton Watson came through and revived the team.
And that's what I was saying. Like, especially when, like, in Game 7, this is it, and then we're going to move on. But in Game 7, when they clearly needed a spark in the second half, Peyton Watson just sitting there. But I don't know. Hey, it is what it is, man. And that's, I guess, the beauty of sports. Even the best team can win, or even the best team can lose on any given day.
That, and as tough as that loss is, and it's going to take all off season, I feel like, to get over that. Until I get to my beautiful Chiefs, that'll help. But till then, I want to have this on a plaque, because Tony Kornheiser said this, and I just love this. I've said it on the podcast before. There's always another game. There's hockey. We're gonna have baseball. There's always
this
another
weekend,
game.
Chad, we got them both ripped out from us in less than 48
It was
hours.
rough. It was. That's what I'm saying. It's going to take a long time to get over this.
Yeah,
one,
it's
man.
rough, man. It was probably one of the worst weekends in Denver sports history in most recent memory, with just both of those games losing. Now, speaking of which, with the NHL, let's move in to the NHL.
Let's do it.
Let's get a little foghorn leghorn going here. All right. Well, we've made it. We're getting closer to the Stanley Cup Finals. We now are down to the remaining
Final
four.
four.
Yeah,
The Frozen
Final
Four.
The Frozen Four in the NHL.
Yep.
In the Eastern Conference, we've got the New York Rangers and the Florida Panthers battling it out. The Rangers defeated the Capitals, swept them in the first round, and defeated the Canes 4-2 in the second round. As we've been mentioning all along, they have the curse of the President's Cup lingering over them. The shadows.
At least they've shook off the first 2 rounds. I will say that. This last one, it really took a lot to win. I mean, it took them to Game 7. No, it wasn't Game 7. It was like
Game 6 in
Game
the
6.
Hurricanes. Yeah,
but
but
they still had a hard time with the Hurricanes those last 3 games.
Well, yeah, and they were up 3-0 on the Hurricanes,
Yep.
and the Hurricanes battled back. Moving over to the Panthers, they defeated the Lightning, who are always in the playoffs, 4-1, and they defeated the Bruins 4-2. The Bruins, this is the second time now, I think, in the last 2 years that the Panthers have knocked them out of the playoffs.
Yeah.
I think it was the first round
Panthers
last year.
were a good team
Yeah.
this year. 52 wins. I just think that because of all that the Rangers had to expend to beat that in that last round, I think the Panthers are going to win this series.
It's very easy, but with the Rangers having that old home ice, that Game 7, if they make it there, is going to be in New York, and right now they are on a roll. You got the Rangers with the leading scorers, Mike Zibanejad and Vincent Trocheck, both have 14 points, and then the Panthers, Matthew Tkachuk with a T there in the beginning of his last name for no reason, and Alexander Barkov both have 13 points. Let's move into the Western Conference. This one we're probably going to spend a little bit more time on just because of what happened. The Dallas Stars are taking on the Edmonton Oilers in the Western Conference Finals.
Going up against the
not the finals. I'm sorry, the semifinals. Yeah. Going against the Oilers, the Stars.
Connor McDavid.
Yeah, one of the
Premier
he's up
stars,
there,
yeah.
top 3. Stars defeat the Golden Knights in the first round, 4-3, and then they ripped the heart out of the Colorado Avalanche this weekend, 4-2 in their series. And man, that one sucked. Double overtime. Not fun, but
Yeah, that was
here we
rough.
are.
Yep. But, I mean, the Stars, it seemed like they just kind of wanted it more. It went to second overtime, and it just looked like the Avs were gassed. And, they just kept skating harder. Then they got that goal, and it just seemed like the Avs were relieved almost.
It did.
Yep.
I mean, you think about it, the Avs are missing Gabriel Landeskog. They're missing Logan O'Connor. Val Nichushkin, again, in the middle of a series, is gone.
Yep.
And they were just up Schitt's Creek without a paddle, man. They tried, and it took until, that game after Val getting suspended for them to wake up, and it was too late.
Yeah, way too late.
They could not get past Oettinger. He's a really good goalie, but I think a healthy Avs team would have beat the Stars and would be, playing Edmonton right now. But alas, the Oilers are in the position that we wish the Avs were, and the Oilers defeated the Kings 4-1 in the first series and defeated the Canucks 4-3. Last night was Game 7, and the Oilers win. Oilers leading scorers Leon Draisaitl with 24 points and Connor McDavid, one of the best, 21 points. You kick it over to the Stars. Miro Heiskanen with 13 points and Jason Robinson with 12 points are the leading scorers. Game 1 is is the 23rd, so that is Thursday, 8:30 p.m. is the Eastern time, so 6:30 here.
Yep.
So, yeah, that's the first game there.
I got the Stars pick because after watching Oettinger, it doesn't seem like he lets anything through. And, the Oilers going to Game 7, they're going to be a little tired. Yeah, the Stars will have a little bit more rest, but I think in hockey, that seems to help.
It really does.
Yeah.
These guys are just on the. It's crazy when you look at the shifts and they're only playing a couple minutes, and you're like, yeah, but it's like
Dude, it's so physical though. It's so physical. I mean, just some of those saves. I mean, I feel like there's at least 4 or 5 goals that the Avs could have had, but Oettinger made these miraculous saves, and it's no thanks to the Stars and or the defense. It's really on him, and I think that's always the big difference in these NHL playoffs is having a good goalie, just like the Rangers. I mean, the Rangers have one of the best in the league, so that's what you look at these teams that are left in the Final Four. That's what you're going to have, and hopefully the Avs can. Gorgiev, I love you, man, but.
He
did good in the playoffs.
He did good. It just, he showed up that first series, he had the 7 goals in that first game, but then, he turned it back around.
Yeah. Cale Makar had a pretty bad playoffs. I wasn't really too happy. He had that one good game in Game 4 or Game 5.
I think he had 2 goals, yeah. But yeah, it was a rough one. I'm going to take the Oilers because I'm going to ride on McDavid and Draisaitl. Those guys have been on fire all year.
Punch, man.
And they are on fire in the playoffs, so we'll see who gets the best in that one.
You taking Oilers? I'll take the Stars.
Yes. Oh, wait, that's it, man.
Yep.
That's it.
All right. Let's you want to move to let's cover baseball. We're going to do it. We're going to spend 5 minutes on it at the most. Won't have too much to talk about, but we're going to cover it.
Yeah, we might be a little over the hour and a half, but I'm fine with that. Let's cover MLB, hit F1, and then we'll get out of here on the DDOE.
Let's do it.
All right. So let me hit a button for you real quick.
I know you will.
Oh, I keep doing weird things over here on my page. I don't even really need to be doing, but let's do it.
Vaughn, a juvenile delinquent in the offseason in his major league debut.
Gonna light your ass up, meat.
Vaughn into the windup in his first offering. Just a bit outside. He tried the corner and missed.
Just a bit outside. Well, we're here. They're about a third of the way through the baseball season.
Mm-hmm.
My Rockies are not the worst team in the MLB, but damn close.
Yeah. Who's worse, the Athletics?
I had the standings up. I'm sorry. Give me 1 second. I believe the Marlins are worse.
Oh, yeah. No, you're right. And they got swept by the Marlins.
Yeah, so the Marlins are worse. The White Sox are worse. And the Athletics are better. And they have no home, really.
Yeah, that's crazy. Well, man, I'm pretty excited about this baseball season so far because the Braves pretty much have picked up off right where they did last year. They could be doing a little better. Yeah, I got Chris Sale now coming from the Red Sox, and he's 7-1. And then my Royals have won 28 games this year. You know how long it took them to get to 28 wins? I said 28 games. 28 wins last year.
It's okay. We knew what you were saying.
July 13th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at that. They're in 4th place in the American League.
Way ahead of schedule.
Damn.
I know it. Yeah, they're playing really good. A couple stories I want to hit on, though, is the young phenom, Ellie De La Cruz. One of the funnest names to say.
Ellie De La Cruz.
Yep. Dude's huge. 6'5", and he's only 22 years old. He's just so fast. And right now, he's already got 30 stolen bases. He's putting up numbers like Ricky Henderson, basically. I wanted to touch on this because we are going to keep updates on it and keep track of it throughout the year because we feel like he's going to be breaking records.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if you look at his stolen bases last year in total, 35.
Wow.
And he's at 30 already.
He's already at 30.
He's
There was a
cruising.
game a few games ago that he had 4 stolen bases in the same game.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I love stolen bases, man.
So
it's beautiful.
yeah.
That's how you manufacture runs, man.
It's great.
It's a dying art, and it needs to be back. And I feel like the last couple of years there has been a little bit of a resurgence. Looking at home runs this year, he's got 9.
He's
He
got
was 13 last year. Hits 43. So yeah, he's doing pretty damn good this year.
23 RBIs. He's having a really good season.
It's
Yep.
decent, man. It's a good one. Let's move over to Mr. Shohei, the Show Ohtani.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. He is on pace to possibly win the Triple Crown. He's been hitting out of control. He's not pitching this year, so all he has to do is hit. And right now, he's got a batting average of .353, which is second in the majors.
That's insane.
30
353 after like what? How many games? Almost like 38 or something.
I think this year, let's
Almost
see,
probably
48.
games. Yeah.
So yeah, we're almost at the third point, whatever you want to call it.
But to be batting .353 after 48 games, that's
Yeah,
impressive.
it's like they say, dude. I mean, the beauty about baseball is that it's like one of the few sports where you can only get a hit 1 out of every 3 times and make it into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, seriously.
So in home runs, he's tied for 4th with 13 RBIs. He's got a little bit of work to do.
Yeah, he's tied for
33.
13th, I think.
But his on-base percentage, his OPS, I'm sorry, is 1.077, and that is tied for first.
Yeah, so he's doing really well. He's making that money and completely putting to bed all of the drama that we first heard about at the beginning of the season.
Well, yeah, I guess we're just not going to talk about it.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. He's too good to talk about it.
Yeah, so it is what it is. Another thing we want to bring up, Rafael Devers has a 6-game home run streak that has now broken a Red Sox record, which when you think about it, it's pretty surprising when you...
David Ortiz.
Yeah, Jimmy Fox, Ted Williams are the other ones to have done it. Dick Stewart, George Scott, Jose Canseco, and Bobby Dalbec in 2020 was the last one to do it. But yeah, that's
pretty impressive.
Cracking bombs like that. That's pretty wild,
We'll be
man.
following him for sure.
What else do you want to talk about? Do you want to run down you want to talk about who's in first?
I want to get into F1. I'm excited to talk about this. I actually watched this race.
Chad watched it. I watched the majority of it.
Yep.
I
Came
missed
on
the
at 7 a.m.
because I was having to help Meryl get ready, but you got to
missed a good
sacrifice
ending,
for
though.
those you love.
That's right.
Yeah, one of the best endings we've probably seen in quite some time when Max Verstappen has been leading the majority of the race because more often than not, it's like a 20 or like 15 to 20 second lead, and we're just trying to see who's going to finish in second and third. Not this time, though. Verstappen wins the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix in Italy by only 0.7 seconds over
Not even
Lando
a full
Norris.
second. Yeah,
No.
I mean Lando was pushing him the last like 6 or 7 laps. It was like I think 10 to 15 laps to go. It was around a 12-second lead, and then he just kept climbing. He kept getting closer, and then about there were 63 laps, and I think lap 57, I believe it was, Lando put the pedal to the metal, and he was bouncing all over the place, jumping up on the gravel, and then after that his tires were shot, and then he was able to get it up to 0.7 seconds, but that's also because Verstappen was losing a lot of grip too. He was pretty pissed off at his pit crew for the way things were going. Even going into the weekend, there was a news story about how he was kind of criticizing some of his staff on their professionalism, I guess.
Oh, yeah. Things are definitely getting a little more tense as the rest of the teams are finally starting to kind of catch the trail of Red Bull.
Well, we're going to get into that. Let's get into we never talk about the constructor standings. We always kind of talk about how often Max wins, but we've been noticing McLaren just keep winning. They finished, I think Piastri was 4th or 5th in this.
He's 4th, yeah.
Yeah, so he did really well, and then of course Leclerc finished 2nd, so they keep building points for the governors. But we wanted to actually run over these I said governors again. I did it. Why do I keep doing that?
Like the governors
constructor standings. That's where it's like the full team. Your other drivers for Red Bull or Ferrari. All right, Red Bull sitting at first at 268, and then Ferrari second at 212. So pretty good lead there. And then McLaren at third at 154, and then Mercedes down there at fourth at 79. So it's like a three-headed race there at the top.
Yeah, but then you just look at it, and it's, you look at the Ferrari, and then you look down at McLaren, and they're slowly, the first race, 27 to 12 points, 22 to 16 second, 44 27, 27 14, 31 27, 36 28, 25 30. They're getting much, much closer, and they're getting a lot more top 5 wins. I think McLaren's figured something out. Mercedes is in trouble. Toto and them need to figure something out, especially now with Sir Lewis Hamilton leaving for Ferrari next year.
Yeah, it's decided now.
There's going to be some things up in the air now, and they are struggling.
Yeah, things are falling apart at the seams at Mercedes.
Yeah.
But big news, we're going to keep this show going, and we're going to talk about next week.
Yeah.
We're headed to Monaco, one of the best races.
Monaco, yeah.
All the stars will be out in their yachts. Should be a good time.
Yes, the port will be filled, or not the port, what is it called? The docks. The docks will be filled with $100 million, probably $1 billion yachts, all watching the Grand Prix this weekend in Monaco. All those people that live in that town, that's got to be a wild experience to be like chilling in your apartment and like just seeing like.
Dude, Monaco would be so cool to go to. Yeah, I think it starts at 7 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. So
yeah,
playing accordingly.
Early
for
one.
that.
Yeah, but it is a very fun one.
It's one of the favorite ones of the year.
Yeah, it's like through the city of Monaco. It is incredible.
Right next to the ocean,
fun
too.
to watch. Yeah, super cool. A bunch of cool scenes of them just ripping by, all these scenic areas and stuff. So definitely exciting.
Should be a good time. I bet Max will probably win again, but Lando's been pushing.
Yeah, we'll see. Maybe Lando will get it this year. I think I can't remember where he finished last year, but I think it was a pretty good finish.
I bet it was top
Monaco,
5.
But well, we're here.
I think it's time, man. I think we covered everything.
It's that time.
We're killing it.
At the end of every show, we got to let the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. John Daly himself, hit it hard, man.
I hit it hard, man. So far, man.
Hard.
No laying up, no holding back. Ain't afraid of
Nothing is a natural fact. You think by now we know the words?
Oh, I do. I got it all, man. If he ever performs at the Grizzly Rose, we're going.
Hard. Hit it hard. I think one of the biggest things for the show would be if we get John Daly to acknowledge us.
I was
if
thinking
that happened,
today, 100th episode, if we could do that, that's what we're going to try to do. I'm going to, for at least
even
episode...
if we have to pay like $500 on Cameo to have
dude.
him.
Let's see if he's on Cameo.
I think he is. I'll check it real quick.
Let's do it, man. Well, I think John Daly would certainly approve of this
He better.
Daily Dose of Exodus because it's another golfer, and it happens to be probably going down as one of the best lady golfers of all time. Nelly KORDA has been raising some eyebrows in ladies golf by winning 6 out of her last 7 starts. I thought about bringing her up as the Daily Dose of Excellence back when she won her like 5th in a row, which has only been done like twice. And then somebody else, I guess, deserved it that week, and I feel like an idiot because now she just keeps on winning. She could be last weekend. She won at the Mizuho America's Open. I'm not sure how to pronounce that name, but
I'll tell you.
it's in New Jersey. Well, she won
Jersey.
in Jersey. The victory made the 25-year-old American the first
Mizuho.
player since the NB Park 2013 to record 6 wins in a single season. She says, "Oh my gosh, 6?" KORDA said, "I can't even really gather myself right now with that. The head-to-head that Hannah and I had pretty much all day wasn't my best stuff out here today. but fought really hard on the back nine. It was just amazing to share the stage with Hannah. That's odd.
Yeah, and she even said, like, I definitely felt like I had my C and D game today. Didn't really play well at all. Just told myself that even though I was 2 over, I still had opportunities in the back nine to take lead or battle with Hannah because she was playing solid golf. So yeah, she wins her 6, and she's not even playing that good. So that must be nice to be like, I had an off day, but I still won.
Especially
my sixth tournament out of 7. No big deal, like Tiger Woods style.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's what I'm saying. That's what we're seeing here. It's not getting talked about enough. We really wanted to bring it up because it just doesn't happen that often. It's only been done twice in ladies golf where they win. Somebody's won 5 tournaments in a row, but it was actually, let's see, KORDA putted to top in range and finished out, while Green's putt to extend the tournament to a playoff never touched the hole. So I mean, she's just at levels above everybody else. Okay, here we go. The win was the 14th for KORDA, and she joined a list of players who have won 6 times in a year since 1980. Betsy King, Annika Sorenstam, Carrie Webb, Lauren Acho, Park, and then Beth Daniel, and then Yanni Singh. So, I mean, it's just I'm excited to see what else she's going to do. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, and women's PGA golf is fun. The crazy thing about golf is, like, there's not you're not looking at, like, I mean, granted, they're not hitting it as far. Golf's still golf. The game's not different.
Yeah,
it's still like the same. I mean, it's just as hard no matter where you're from. But that is the cool thing about golf is the competitiveness of it isn't that much different from the men's. I mean, obviously they're not ripping it 350 off the tee. But some of these ladies, I think, probably can drive close to 300 now. And, yeah, I don't see why it's, it's not bigger, but it still is big.
Yeah. When I was in high school, I tried out golf. There was a guy that we were friends with that had us all, like, try it. And when we did PE, most schools, they have you learn every sport. And every sport, I mean, badminton, pickleball, all of it.
Oh, yeah.
And, I played football in high school. I loved sports. So I could pick up all of these pretty well, at least compared to the other, like, guys that are in PE where it's just like you get 4 or 5 good athletes in each PE class.
Yeah.
But when we had to do golf, it woke me up. I was like, this is a different sport. It is hard. It's not just because I grew up playing baseball. You could just go and hit a ball hard. You got to make contact with it. You got to try to have
Yeah, the whole point was to hit it as hard as shit.
Exactly.
Which in golf, you're supposed to do that too, but you're also supposed to hit it straight or around a dog leg or hook it.
Oh my God, the mechanics.
Play the slice.
We go to, and then when I get in, a little older in my 20s, me and the Albanians, we grab a 30-pack and go out there and we party and have a good time. And there's times we get up to the tee and I'm like, where's the hole? And they're like, yeah, it's around this like dog leg. I'm like, I can't even see it.
No.
How am I supposed to? What?
Yeah, that's always
golf
the
is
it's
so
like
hard.
Yeah, it's like 500 yards, and you're like, okay. And you're like, where's the tee? And like, don't even worry about that.
Can't even
just
see
hit it and just hope it goes straight because it's somewhere way up over there.
I was losing so many balls. I sucked at golf. I've never been good at. I am good at putt-putt though. I love playing putt-putt.
Juice just brought up disc golf, which I've been watching a lot of disc golf highlights lately.
Yeah,
watching those people throw a fucking frisbee that far
it's
hit
pretty
a
crazy.
hole in one is nuts.
Yeah, those videos are pretty cool. Yeah. I got a lot of because they're in Parsons. There's not like a whole lot to do as far as like different sports and stuff. We don't have hockey or anything. Yeah. But disc golf, they have a few really good disc golf courses. And my buddy like Dustin, he travels like all over. He used to do it in Kansas City all the time. That's like I've got a good handful of friends that really like disc golf.
Yeah. We still need to get out and just go play a par 3. I got you some better clubs.
Oh, you got new clubs?
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
Better clubs.
So every time I've been seeing those clubs, I've been in my garage. I'm like, dude, we need to go do this. So this summer when it's like, let's make it happen.
We'll go to Broomfield and play a little par 3.
I'm down, man.
It's like $20.
That's all I need to hear.
Buy a 6er or a 12er.
Yeah, 24.
Yeah. Well, you know what? We'll just drink all day.
Yep.
But yeah, so big ups to Nelly KORDA. She is on her way to being one of the best women's golfer we've ever seen. Did want to throw us out though. The longest streak in the PGA or professional golfing in terms of tournaments won in a row, Byron Nelson, 11.
Wow.
March 11th to August 4th, 1945, including the 1945 PGA Championship. So it would have been just happened. So
That's pretty cool.
pretty wild.
That's pretty
If
awesome.
we were in 1945.
But we're going to keep tabs on Nelly KORDA because I bet she's going to keep on winning. And if she does, and even if she doesn't, we're going to keep, talking about this because it's a good story.
Yeah,
So
Juice also said great par 3 discourse in Bailey. Bailey's kind of far. It's only
Bailey is
$10.
far away. Yep. Well,
But, yeah.
you'll have to come out with us, Juice.
Yeah, let's do it. We'll go
Yep.
play disc golf.
Hey,
You can play golf with
Let
us.
me ask this real quick. We'll tag Don's. We're going to Don's this week because they're having a big cookout thing. Juice, are you going to Don's?
Juice, are you going to Don's?
Live on air. Find out.
Hurry up.
There's going to be hot dogs
He
cooked.
probably already tuned out. He said hype, but I don't know if that is. Yeah, I'll be there.
That's what's up, Juice. We'll see you there.
Cheers to you, Juice. I won't be there because I can't go in there. My skin burns.
Yep. It's like a demon in a church.
Cheers to each and every one of you. Thanks for tuning in each and every week. Thank you, Juice, for always being on the live streams. Much
That's
appreciated.
right. Thank you, Juice.
You guys, if you haven't yet, make sure to go like, share, subscribe, and follow us on all things social media. And if you're watching or listening to us on anything, please rate us 5 stars, leave a review, and do all the things that you can for us. And don't forget, we also now have a Threadless shop. You can go buy a ton of cool merch.
Hoodies,
Yeah.
umbrellas, whatever you want.
Yoga mats.
Do it.
Cheers to you guys.
Cheers.
To you, buddy. Love you as always.
We'll be back next week.
Next week. We'll see you guys. Toodles.
Farewell.
Yeah. Love you guys.